Charlotte Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast to Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars.
We are live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. I'm Zach Chapman here with ShaggyTV, ready to bring you a little hometown heroes here. It's championship night coming into tonight. This is pretty much going to be the only series that is maybe under contention. Every spot that you... Hey, what's up, Braden? How you doing? Every spot that you're ahead of a driver in the Coast to Coast Racing League is 3 points. Now, you do get bonus points for 0 incident points, so Blake could be hoping for a little favor there. But right now, him and Jack Hitt are in a 21-point battle here. Blake's 21 points off of Jack, and you know what that means. That's 7 spots on the racetrack would be a tie. 8 would be a win. Only 9 drivers here in the session this evening, so your NJ Custom Creations Midget Sprint Champion is looking like it's going to be the driver in the 217, Jack Hitt, but we still got 30 laps left to settle this thing, or actually maybe 25. I believe it's 30. But definitely not... You can't hand the trophy over to Jack yet, but it's not going to be easy for anyone to take that from him. Is right now Randy Shreves running behind the Brewerton Beach. Jeff Barker here, as we'll be closing up on warm-ups here soon. I think. Randy looking to the inside of Jeff. Maybe burping the throttle there, not getting too aggressive, just trying to test it here at certain spots. But there he gets real loose coming off. started to lift up the front end. That's why you saw him crack the throttle there. But session comes to a close here, and we get ready to go into qualifying here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Like I say, it is points night, so hopefully if I'm aware of it, some of the other drivers are aware of it as well, because you don't want to stick your nose in something and maybe ruin it here for the gentleman. But if you're Blake Chapman, maybe that's what you want to see happen here. You know, he doesn't want to get it that way, but it's happened to him before, so I'm sure he'll take it if he can get it. As we watch the 89 of Mason Hine roll around in that flat-out machine. What's lap number 1 going to look like for the 89? It's going to be P1 for the moment. As other times roll in, though, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis, he takes it over here as the gentleman, Jack Hitt, Purple Sector 2. Jack Hitt takes quick time. What's Jack Hitt going to do here? Lap number 2, can he improve? He's quicker through Sector 1, slower through Sector 2. The gentleman improves a 12.624. Good lap there for the gentleman. What's Blake Chapman do here? He comes across lap number 1. No purples, so we shouldn't see a quick time here. We're going to see a P4 right now for Blake. He's quicker through Sector 1, second time around. What's it going to say through 2? He's quicker. What's the lap time going to show? Blake Chapman's still going to say P4 with an almost identical lap to Randy Shreves. That's going to wrap up qualifying as the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. He also comes across. Gives us a little wheelie. 5:13, man. He's turning into a showman out there. He's been staying on. I don't even know. He probably doesn't even go back and watch these. But he's been staying out on the racetrack a lot longer than other people, giving us some camera angles that I normally can't show. But that's going to do it here. Qualifying: Jack Hitt, Terry Landis, Randy Shreves, Blake Chapman, and Brian Moore Sr., your top 5. We're going to have one heat race here, too. One heat race, 10 drivers. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the starting lineup. Rounding out the field outside of row 5 in the 888, Steve Maurer to the inside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Row 4 to the outside, the 89 of Mason Hine. To the inside, the 75 of the Mayor, Steve Bixler. Row 3 to the outside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. To the inside, the 055 of Brian Moore Sr. Row 2 to the outside, the gentleman, your current point leader in the 217, Jack Hitt. To the inside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row number 1, starting on the outside in the 56, Randy Shreves, and starting on the pole, the salesman of the 20, Blake Chapman. Blake knows, well, he needs to do his part here. Win heat race number 1. Try to start on the pole for the feature. Jack, if he's going to have any mistakes happen to him, he wants them to happen now in the heat race as a whole feature ahead. As the green flag's high, it's ready to fly. There's 6 laps here to set the grid for your A&J Custom Creations Midget Sprints as we go down the backstretch. Randy Shreves with the run into 3, and he's going to take the early lead as Terry Landis tries to put himself in between his teammate and the gentleman Jack Hitt, but no luck right now for the 161 of Terry Landis as he looks to the bottom, and there I say he got a lot of luck. I saw the wrong orange. He was able to slot in front of the 217 there through 3 and 4. I saw Blake's orange. And then I was like, wait, there's only 2 cars in front of him. Way wrong on that one. And Terry Landis knows. Starting on the inside, maybe where the Desert Demon wants to be here for the feature. He's what we like to call a bottom feeder. Loves running that inside. And if Terry could finish 3rd, possibly 1st, that's aiming a little high here with only 1 lap to go here, this time coming out of 4. Is Randy Shreves. He's got the lead coming off of 2. Blake is close as he's been, but not close enough to strike. Final time through 3 and 4. Checkered flag waves. Randy Shreves, Blake Chapman, Terry Landis, Jack Hitt, Jeff Parker, Brian Moore Sr., Mason Hines, Steve Maurer, Steve Bixler, and Bob DeGood round out the field. As we take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, we'll be right back with your A&J Custom Creations Midget Sprints. But the difference is on this one, we're not going to run a commercial here. We're going to stick around. We'll watch these guys a little bit. I'm going to mute myself so I can try to move some things around on my computer for the next event, but we'll stick around. Let's watch these guys get some laps. That's only one heat race. I can't in my right mind go to commercials here. You see a little over a minute left in warm-ups right now. Blake Chapman, quickest driver on the racetrack. Terry Landis, P2, Randy Shreves third, and the gentleman Jack Hitt, your point leader by 21 points. Jack Hitt knows he's just got to bring this home. Top 5 to be safe. But man, on the podium would sure be a nice way to wrap up the season here for the gentleman. Long, long way to go here, though. Like I say, about 30 laps. So between him and a trophy here at the Huset Speedway. It's been our first season here for the Hometown Heroes. If you're new to iRacing, you know, maybe you'd know that. But if you've been around for a while, we just got this racetrack a couple months ago. So as soon as we got it, we had to throw it on for Hometown Heroes. Nobody really had the advantage, you know, in terms of track time, but Blake Chapman had came out and really solidified himself at this racetrack until Jack Hitt, man. He had missed a race in the early going. He's actually looking, you know, you get 2 drop weeks. Jack's missed 2 races, so Jack hasn't gotten any drop weeks. Blake missed 1 as well, so he's going to take 1, I think. But right now, I mean, Jack, he took it. He saw something from Blake those first couple races and found a way to make it work for himself. And the gentleman has came in and, surprise, surprise, contending for another midget sprint car championship. That is what Jack Hitt is known for around here in Coast to Coast. That's for sure. One of the best we have, and wouldn't be surprised to see him walk away with this one, but we'll have to see. Let's take a look at our A&J Custom Creations Midget Sprint Car starting lineup. Row 5 to the outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. To the inside, the Mare in the 75, Steve Bixler. Row 4 to the outside, the 888 of Steve Maurer. To the inside, the 89 of Mason Hine. Row 3 to the top shelf in the 055, Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. To the inside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Parker. Row 2 to the outside, the 217 of the gentleman, your point leader, Jack Hitt. To the inside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row 1 for your A main here in your midget sprints. To the outside, in the 20, the salesman, Blake Chapman. And starting on the pole, the 56 of Randy Shreves. Jack Hitt, can he bring it home? Can Blake Chapman steal the win here. 25 laps. I kept saying 30. I was worried it might have been 25. That's I'd mentioned it once at the beginning. It may be 25. I just did Monday night, filled in for Marty. That's the uppity of laps, and tomorrow night as well. So just caught sleeping a little bit here as the Steve King Foundation pace truck pulls off. The green flag's high. It's ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the clay at Huset Speedway. We're off. The 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis, taking advantage of a good start here. Able to get under Blake Chapman and work side by side. He's going to be extra cautious dealing with that 20. That's his teammate. And he knows Blake has an outside chance of bringing this thing home tonight. So Terry going to play as nice as he can. But at the same time here, he's going to make Jack Hitt do some work along with his teammate. Jack Hitt right now, I talked about wanting that podium. But if you can see you're that close to Blake, how hard do you push it here if you're in that 217? The answer is you get every spot you can. And Jack Hitt looking to the outside here in the early stages. We're only coming on to lap 3 here. As Jack Hitt looking to the outside, coming off a 2. Can he work his way in front of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis? And I think the answer is yes at the line. Give it to the 217 as now he goes to work on his championship rival. And I think if you're Jack, you know that Blake's gonna, he's gonna race you clean. Blake is not gonna make that thing real wide. He's firm to hold to his line, and I think Jack maybe gonna take advantage of that. Pour a little salt in the cut here and not only take the trophy, but try to work yourself around the kid you've been battling with here all season. And well, Randy Shreves at the same time, he wants to show these guys that, hey, maybe in a different reality here, I was able to show up for this every race this season, not have any unfortunate luck, and bring home a trophy. This always means a lot here to close out the season. But Blake Chapman to the inside, he's trying to take the lead here as we inch closer to the halfway point, but he gets a little sideways. Jack Hitt now upstairs. Advantage bottom 1 and 2. Advantage middle, top 3 and 4. Is Blake Chapman not really having a lot of grip there on exit? Well, maybe now as I see it, maybe it's the opposite. Blake's just nailing it down there. Let's go on the nose here. I want to take a look at the racetrack. Blake is inside to that berm as he can without clipping it. And you see, he even lifts it up a little on exit. There's still a lot of grip down there, so Blake, as long as he's sensitive on that throttle, he should find the grip he wants, and he does. He's got the lead at the line here, 12 laps to go. Brian Moore Sr. pretty comfortably in 5th here. No pressure from the mare, Steve Bixler. And, well, Jeff Barker kind of hanging out behind the mare. Steve Maurer, Bob DeGood. There's a little battle between Bob and Mason. But up front, the war still rages here. You could put this top 3 under a blanket. I think if you're Jack Hitt at this point in time, you know that Blake has 0x. You have 0x as well, I'd imagine. I haven't seen him getting that outside wall. You need to start being really cautious. Oh, there's the incident point. There's the incident points probably for the gentleman Jack Hitt. He gets into the back of Randy Shreves. And anybody who knows anything, incident points have decided championships before. So now, if he did get an incident point there, he'll lose 2 points. And Blake, meanwhile, is losing 0 points, but gaining 5 for racing a little cleaner out there if he keeps it at a 0. Now, if Terry Landis could somehow work this thing around, that's... Oh, Jack Hitt to the inside, a little slide job. Randy Shreves cuts into the inside. Can Jack get a good enough run off the 2 to hang on? He's going to float it to the outside. He loses the rear end a little bit. Randy keeps it on the inside. Jack maybe got a little nervous there, bounces out of the throttle. But right now we're looking, let's see here. So this is 6 points. I said he needed 21. Then 7, 13. So right now, but then Jack now moves on up to P2. Randy gets a little loose on the inside. And now if Jack can just bring this thing home, you got to think he's looking at another A&J Custom Creations Midget Sprints Championship, but not if this man can say anything about it. What can Blake do? Can he entice the lap traffic to maybe go back there and mix it up with him a little bit? I highly doubt it. Not in this league. All class here as we roll through 3 and 4. We're going to see the white flag in the air. One more lap to go for Blake Chapman. Blake Chapman looking to bring home another checkered flag here at the Huset Speedway. But he's not going to bring home the championship according to my math. Blake Chapman wins, but Jack Hit with a P2 is going to come home champion. Randy Shreves, Brian Moore Sr., and Steve Bixler round out your top 5. And I'm supposed to message Patrick, and he is on kid duty, man, giving his kids a bath, and he's going to update this thing for us, I believe. And we are going to double verify because, I blew the lid on Blake the other night. I thought he brought home a championship, but it was in fact Patrick Spangler. So we're gonna make sure we're right here this time. And just be patient here. He's good, but he's not that good. So you got to give him a little bit of time here. But either way, I guess we could bring up Randy, probably. And you know what? Let's do that here. Hey, Randy, Shaggy up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Shaggy.
Well, hey, man, able to bring home P3 after a pretty dominant run there in the early stages for a while. I wasn't sure if Blake and Jack were going to be able to get around you, man. You were looking pretty strong. Well, what do you think was the difference there towards that second half?
Pretty much just Blake is just he's really good on the bottom, man. Like he was able to just keep that thing down there, and I couldn't figure it out down there, so I tried to change my line and got past, but I don't know. It was definitely a fun race, man. I love racing these things. They're a lot of fun, but yeah, he just had that bottom down, man.
Yeah, now obviously, Randy, I know you're a clean racer, so you're thinking about that out there on the racetrack. When they're looking beside you, are we maybe giving them a little extra room, than we normally would? Because, you let Blake and Jack a crap ton of room, as you should on championship night. But, man, it does make it a little harder to bring home the checkered flag.
Yeah, and I definitely did want to give them guys some space, man. I know I haven't been running with these guys recently, so I'm not really going for any points or anything, so I was just gonna try to stay out of their way. I just knew Blake was just way better on the bottom, and Jack, he's always good in these things too. So yeah, man, hats off to them guys, and hope to see them again next year in these things. Hope they keep running these.
Yeah, man, these are definitely a lot of fun, and man, oh man, I wish we could get this car count up because as well as I do, you got to be good to drive these, dude. You're really driving them with the gas. It's not like going in there yanking it and steering it. It's a lot of fun, and you can't go out here and hammer down. It takes a lot of skill, and to finish on the podium when you don't run them a lot, Randy, says a lot about you. Hell of a race, man. Congratulations. Who you want to thank, brother?
Appreciate it. Definitely want to thank everybody at Coast to Coast. You for the broadcast, Shaggy. You do an awesome job every week, and want to thank my son Dylan Shreves for painting my car, KSB Builders, and everybody for watching.
Well, hey, hell of a run, Randy. Congratulations, man. And hopefully we're talking to you here later tonight, man. Go get him.
Yes, sir. We'll see you, buddy.
That's Randy Shreves bringing it home. P3. And now we're going to bring up the winner of the race. Blake, taking a look at the points, man, this was another close one. I know you're not paying attention to what's going on behind you, but there was a little contact between Jack and Randy Shreve. So I knew there was incident points there, and boy, oh boy, man, 11 points. You gave it all you could, but another short fall here.
Yeah, I didn't really expect to, be battling for points, coming into tonight or coming into this season in general. It's been a while since I've been in these midget cars, but, I've had a lot of fun with them in the past, and, for them being on Hometown Heroes night, it works out well for me to run them. So, we gave it a shot and just tried to come out here and learn the best we could on how to drive these things. And I know I had a lot of fun all season long driving these things. Wish we could have got a couple more cars out here every week, but hopefully maybe next season with the midgets running later, maybe that'll be a better track for some people. Hopefully we can get those car counts up.
Well, hey, man, you're better than this, so I know you won't say it, so I'll say it for you. If not for a little mishap with a lap car early in this season that took a win away from you, we may be looking at another sweep here for the Hometown Heroes, man. For not being very familiar with this car, you had a hell of a year, Blake, and that's something to hang your hat on, man. Matching Jack and wins, that says something because you know how good he is in this race car, but you went out there toe for toe, man, just came up 11 points short. Hell of a season, man. Congratulations on the win. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank the parents for watching all season long. I got to thank the boys down at KSR, especially Terry, for running with me all season long, and he's great in these midgets. You come into the KSR garage, he's the master of these things, so really appreciate him helping me out all he could this season. I felt like I learned a lot, so I got to thank him for that. I got to thank the Salty Dogs for letting us hop in their Discord tonight. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and 88 AJ Custom Creations. I got to thank Jack for the admin all season long. I know I'm not the only one that really appreciates him doing that. Of course, I got to thank Steve's Custom Golf Clubs for all the support all season long. And I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. You can head over to their website and don't forget to use code CART, that's CART at checkout, for 15% off some of their very delicious popcorn. I got to thank all the guys that came out and ran with us this season in this class. And of course, I got to thank you for putting this broadcast on every week, Shaggy.
Well, hey, man, save some of those thank yous. Spoiler alert, everybody. He's going to win the X2 championships here. So, Blake, save some oxygen, man. We're going to be talking to you a lot tonight. Congratulations on the win, bud. And hopefully you can sweep the top of the podium as well as the championships here coming up. Good luck.
Hey, that'd be nice. Thanks, Shaggy.
And now we're going to bring up champion Jack. I'll tell you. You didn't make it easy on yourself. Did we lose incident points when we got into the 56?
I don't know.
Okay, because when I was watching that with the contact, dude, I started to sweat for you. I was doing math, but whenever you got up to second, I knew you were golden. It didn't really matter. You win by 11 points. And I know, man, you're the master of these things, but boy, oh boy, dude, seemed like you guys, it really kind of depended on the track state. One week, you were beating him by 3 seconds. The other week, maybe he's beating you by not as much. But, this was a fun class to race, man. You guys really, really drove the hell out of these things.
Yeah, I hope a lot of guys are paying attention because, we're going to be back for Hometown Heroes wherever we're at next season. And hopefully we can get these car counts up because, I want to point out, if you look at the standings there, look at the ILs on the top, like 4 or 5 guys, man, we're all like a 0.0 something, and nobody really is even at even a 0.2, I don't think. So probably some of the cleanest racing we've had, and in my opinion, some of the most fun racing for sure.
Yeah, no, not that I don't even know the way to describe it, Jack, but with this car, it really is, you can almost drive it anywhere. It's really just dependent on how aggressive you want to be on that throttle. Am I right?
especially at this track. Yeah. Obviously it's still the newest track, but it just feels like you can put it anywhere. Obviously something starts to slick off, maybe the bottom, top, whatever, it's going to be different. But some tracks, it's going to be high side dominant, it's going to be low side dominant. Well, this one seems like, one of the handful that you really don't know what you're going to get.
Well, Jack, I know it's not always easy to babysit this bunch, man, but you're able to do that and bring home the championship. So, congratulations, dude. What is this? Is this number 4 for the midgets or 3?
7?
Oh, holy crap, dude! I'm that off.
I got
Jesus.
a 2021 in front of me.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's going back there.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, that's going back there. I think the oldest one I have is the last time they ran street stocks when it was still wooden plaques. I can't remember what year that is.
Yeah. I got a 22 that's still wooden, but I got one from 2020 that's wooden too. Shout out to A&J Custom Creations.
Yeah, it just shows how durable they are too. Look, like
yeah, still the best looking ones I've got too.
Well, congratulations, Jack. I think you may have another one coming your way in the mail, so get prepared, man. Hell of a season. Congratulations. Who you want to thank, brother?
I just got to thank you for putting on the broadcast. Got to thank everybody in the league for coming out and putting on these great races. We just went green to checkers right there, talking about good, clean, close racing too. So, shout out to everybody behind the scenes. Blake for a good season. Hopefully he comes back and we can do it again. And got to thank my wife for giving me time to do it.
Yeah, most definitely, man. The most important one. Congratulations, Jack, and look forward to seeing you go hunt down number 9 or 8, whatever it is. We'll be at 10 soon. Congratulations, Jack. Good luck, man.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that count when I get my socks off so I can count it. But thanks, Zach.
I love that, dude. That's Jack Hitt, man. Your winner, bringing home another championship. He's the man in these midgets. I told you. I didn't realize it was that many. I told you he was good. He knows what he's doing in these things. He's a master of the right foot. When you take the wing off, and Jack Hitt brings home another championship here in the A&J Custom Creations Midget Sprint Cars. With that, we're going to step away here for a quick minute, and we'll be right back with a little bit of your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Cars here next on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Stick around.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Right when we talked about it.
outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
it's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get right when we talked about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network for part 2 of 3 here for your Flatline Racing Bodies Hometown Heroes Wednesday night. Flatline Racing Bodies 360 sprint cars here. Flatline Racing Bodies really stepped up to the plate this season, putting on a lot of the broadcast here this season. I don't know what we'd do without you guys here at the Coast to Coast Racing League. Everyone out there at Flatline Racing Bodies, we appreciate your, well, let's be honest, probably 4 or 5 years of support here. You guys have been helping out at the Coast to Coast Racing League, maybe even longer. My apologies if it's been longer, but Right now, Brian Moore Sr. top of the charts. Blake Chapman, Terry Landis, Randy Shreves, Mason High in your top 5. 10 drivers in the session. Jeff Barker has not put a lap time in yet, but we got to wait till quarter of here to roll this thing. That's why I rolled the commercials there twice. Gave me a chance to set up for some things in the future, do some things. So let's actually... Here, what camera are we looking for? That was the camera, but he decided to pull it on the racetrack. Let's ride around here with Jeff Barker for a little bit. So you want to keep the wheels straight as you can. Just trying to keep as much speed in that race car as possible, and he's doing a good job in the 513. Well, till there he decides maybe I've had enough practice. Gonna pull it into the inside. Brian Moore Sr. doing the exact same thing. Definitely everyone's in this practice session. So I was hopping around there, clicking on drivers that weren't on the racetrack. Everybody is in this session, but looks like they might be getting their little drivers meeting here and then be getting ready to roll. But Blake Chapman, he is going to bring home the championship. He's almost got an 100-point lead, which is unbelievable. You count 6 races of his 6 races because we do 2 drop weeks. He's won 5 times. That's pretty freaking unbelievable. Dean Reynolds trying to bring home P2. He's got a 9-point lead. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Over Brian Moore Sr. So that's pretty much the battle out there for points. Or 11-point lead, excuse me. And then, well, I guess Andy Patton's involved in that. And he is 7 points out of third. So second and third still up for grabs, but the only one that gets the trophy is the champion. Well, that is, of course, unless Andy wants to make himself one. Let's take a look here, Brian Moore Sr., what he can do on lap number 1. Looks to the outside here through 3 and 4. Lap time's going to start to come in. What's it look like here for Brian Moore Sr.? See, Dean Reynolds with the quick time right now at 10.85. The Brewerton Beach, Jeff Barker coming in P2. What's Brian Moore Sr. do second time around? 10.90. That's not going to raise him up the charts enough. But the Brewerton Beach, Jeff Barker, he finds some speed in the 5.13. And welcome to quick time so far. What can Blake Chapman do or say about it? Purple through sector 1 and 2. What's he doing through sector 1? What's he doing through 2? It's enough, Blake Chapman. Welcome to the pole. And Jeff Barker, man, thought he was going to have it there for a quick minute. Blake Chapman said, go away. That's my spot. And the point leader by over 100 points by almost 100 points shows exactly why. Brings home another quick time, and all drivers have qualified. Let's actually bring this back up. Whenever we see that green flag or that green circle next to Huset Speedway change to white, that'll be when the clock has run out on qualifying. And, well, I can actually take a look at that here. 10 seconds left. Not a lot of time. I always forget that I have those capabilities here. As right now, Blake, I would imagine when the midgets, we had 10 cars, we had 1 heat race, so I would assume the same thing here. But you know what happens when you assume. But hey, I got lucky here. Let's take a look at the starting grid here for your one and only heat race here for your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 sprint cars, row 5 to the outside, the 161 of the Desert Demon Terry Landis to the inside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Row 4 to the outside, the 789 of Cale Bixler. To the inside, his dad, and the 75 the mayor, Steve Bixler. Row 3 to the outside. Mason hit him with the hind in the 89 to the inside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. What did I do to make that go away? There we go, brought it back. I'm not going to complain. It's row 2 to the high side, the Salesman, Blake Chapman to the inside, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. Row number 1 for your one and only heat race to the outside in the 79, Dean Reynolds. And starting on the pole, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. As we roll through 3 and 4, those guys are battling here for P2 and points. Who's it going to be? Who's going to bring it home? Checkered flag or green flag waves. We're underway. I jumped the gun by about 6 laps. We're a bit of a way from checkered flag, but there's contact in the back. Mason Hind hard up into the outside wall. I think he had a little bit of contact there with Cale Bixler. Bob DeGood possibly as well, but those two gonna have to figure it out here in the feature, get a little bit of track time and warm-ups because their heat race is over. In the early stages is Blake Chapman. He can have fun tonight. He doesn't need to win this thing. He can wreck if he wants to and bring home the championship. So I think Blake is all about having fun, and he's going to harass Dino. Oh, he looks to the inside. Dino shuts the door, and Blake does a good job of getting on the binders. Doesn't want to take out Dino, and they live to race another day here with 2 laps to go at the Huset Speedway. White flag in the air this time by. Can anyone find a way around Dino? The answer is going to be no. As we roll through 3 and 4 for the final time, checkered flag waves. Dean Reynolds going to start on the pole for tonight's feature here at the Huset Speedway in the 360 Sprint Cars. Brian Moore Sr., Blake Chapman, Jeff Barker, Randy Shreves, your top 5. Man, I'm twisting my own tongue tonight. We're going to step away here for a quick minute on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, and we'll be right back with your 360 Sprint Car feature right after this. We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. A little over 10 seconds here till we take a look at our starting feature lineup here. Randy Shreves, Brian Moore Sr., and Blake Chapman. Your top three here as we close out warm-ups. You see there, warm-ups come to a close. Everything disappears here. We'll take a look at our starting grid here for tonight's A&J Custom Creations 360 Sprint Car feature. Maybe. Maybe will we, actually. Let's see here. I can see it coming up, but it doesn't want to scroll down. Huh. So my apologies. This is one where I've really never seen it do this to me before. Let's see if that did it. Go down now. Okay, that'll work. I have no idea what I did, but it fixed it. Row 5 to the outside in the 89. Mason Hine to the inside, the 789 of Kel Bixler. Row 4 to the outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood to the inside, the Desert Demon in the 161. Terry Landis. Row 3 to the outside in the 75, the Mayor, Steve Bixler, lining up on the inside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. Row 2 to the outside in the 513, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker to the inside. Your points champion here, I'm going to crown it already, the 20 of the Salesman, Blake Chapman. Row 1 for your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Car feature. Season finale to the outside in the 055, Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. And starting on the pole, the 79 of Dino Dean Reynolds. As the Steve King Foundation pace truck pulls off, the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the clay at Huset Speedway. We're underway. Dino with a good jump there through 1 and 2, but Brian Moore Sr. on the outside, all the momentum, trying to take the lead here. Lap number 1 does just that. As he sets the pace here, Dean Reynolds sticks to the inside. What kind of momentum can he build here in the 79? Not enough. Here's Terry Landis. He works to the inside of the Mayor, Steve Bixler. But Blake Chapman, not too sure what happened to the Salesman here, if he maybe took an EOL when I wasn't looking or just had a rough start. But Blake way to the back. Jeff Barker, Kel Bixler. They're all spread out here in the early stages of Huset's. And you know what that means? We could be going green flag here. And if you're Blake Chapman, that's not what you want to see. It's the top 3 on the outside of the racetrack right now here at the Huset Speedway. Who's going to be the first driver to try to jump to the inside and take a bite of that apple down there? There's still a lot of grip. And I think the first person probably willing and most likely able to do it, the 56 of Randy Shreves. He's got nothing to lose. He's got 2 cars on the outside in front of him. There's nowhere to go on that top shelf. If and when you get to the tail tank of the 79, but that if and when all gone. Caution flag flies here at the Huset Speedway. Bob DeGood and possibly Steve Bixler. Maybe 2 different accidents, actually. Let's see here. They're spaced a little bit apart. I notice Bob, he's a couple laps down, so definitely that's something that happened. Yeah, this is the caution. Bixler hard into the outside wall, up and over. Can't get it to go back on all 4s at the moment. Oh, nope. And the Mayor gets himself stuck a little worse there coming out of 2. And gonna have to tow that thing. Well, Blake Chapman, he's looked like he had just come out of pit road. May have went in there and used a quick repair. Let's go back and let's see Blake Chapman's lap number 1. So he did take the OL, wanted to start at the back. But let's see what happens. So he looks to the inside right now. He's got Bob on the outside. Bob gets into Kale. Oh, Jeff Barker had a lot of damage on that 513 as well. That was the opener. That's what we missed back there in the back as no caution came. Brian Moore Sr. going to start on the inside this time as Dino. Can he take advantage of that outside and return the favor? He's got to nail this restart here. 17 to go as we drop under the green flag. We're almost halfway here. Dino, pretty good jump, but Randy, he takes a peek up in his mirror. He sees the 161, and all of a sudden the salesman ripping the outside. Blake Chapman, he's got a good handle in race car now. We saw him come in and use that quick repair. And now Blake Chapman, he is ready to play here at Huset Speedway. Looks to the outside of his teammate in the 161. Terry leaves him plenty of room for the time being. Dino, he's reeling in the 055 of Brian Moore Sr. Brian to the outside, going to shut the door here. Dino searching for a way around. Going to try to diamond 3 and 4. Drives in super high on the entry of 1, trying to carry momentum off, but Brian Moore Sr. just proven he's got enough speed to be able to hold on. Dino maybe a little faster, but what do they say? It's one thing to catch a guy, it's another thing to pass him. And Dino's going to have to use every trick in the book here as we're coming up 11 laps to go. 11 laps may seem like a long time, but you see we're already down to 10. 12 seconds around this racetrack, really 11 and a half with the way these boys are rolling right now. So you got no time to waste, and Blake Chapman knows this. He's down to the inside looking. He's taking a peek for P2. Blake Chapman, welcome to that middle step of the podium. And how long can Brian Moore Sr. and the boys hold him off before Blake takes over the lead? The answer's half a lap. Welcome to the lead, Blake Chapman. Your point leader from the back to the middle to a pit stop to the back to the front here. And he's still got 7 laps to spare. Blake Chapman showing why he's going to bring home the hardware here in the 360 sprints. But like I say, this is the battle for second. Dino trying to make up some ground here, trying to find a way around the 55 of Brian Moore Sr. Mr. Wednesday Night, he's made a home on these podiums, hence the nickname. But I haven't talked to him in about a week or two. It's been a dry spell for Brian. He'd love to get back on the podium, but he's going to have to wait as the caution flag flies. One more time, Cale Bixler in the 789 goes around. Cale drives in a little deep, loses the rear end. He's getting sideways. I imagine he's going to clip the 7. Nothing Bob could do there. He's trying to stay low and out of the way, but then hard into the wall for really both of them. But Cale Bixler, man, impacts, rotates around, and oh no. Oh boy, that was a close call for the salesman, Blake Chapman. He can afford it tonight. But man, not what you want to see there. If you're the 20 of Blake Chapman, that's a scary sight. Let's go back, actually. So let's see. Now, this is what you see off that front wing. Whoo! See, Blake has no idea what to do there. It happened so fast. But Cale does a good job of just getting that thing down out of the way, because at this point, Blake, he doesn't know. He's on the brakes. He gooses it up. It's just, man, that was, Blake just needed to take a deep breath and hold on there as the lights go off on the Steve King Foundation pace truck this time. And as we roll down the backstretch, we'll see the pace truck dive off to the left, and We'll be set for a little 3-lap shootout here in the clay at Huset Speedway. Who's going to take home P2? Can either one of them throw a big move here at the salesman, Blake Chapman? We've got 3 laps left to find out as the green flag waves. We're back underway. Good jump for Blake Chapman. This leads all but his. Battle on for P2. Dean Reynolds taking a peek on the outside. Brian Moore Sr. going to float up on exit, shut the door. This is what Dino needs. Can he counter to the inside? No. Brian goes down, shuts the door. 2 laps to play here. Oh, this is where the action is. Dino to the outside, Brian to the inside. Brian can't find the grip, and Dino to the outside on that middle step of the podium. Randy Shreves trying to hunt a little bit as we roll through 3 and 4 for the final time. Blake Chapman, he sees the checkered flag waves, and he brings home the championship. Dean Reynolds, Brian Moore Sr., Randy Shreves, and Terry Landis, your top 5. But the salesman, Blake Chapman, I warned you, he was going to bring home another trophy here after the midgets. I didn't know it was going to be a race trophy to go along with the checkered flag. We knew about the points trophy. But Blake Chapman doing what he does best, parking that thing on the top step. Congratulations to another good run here for the salesman, Blake Chapman. And let's see if we can't get a word here with our top 3. And obviously your third place driver here, Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. Remember, he was trailing Dino, so finishing behind Dino, you'd think the points are second place is Dean Reynolds, so pretty comfortable in saying that, but still a third place points effort, pretty good here for Brian Moore Sr. I think he's going to be pretty happy with that. Let's see if we can get a word with him here. And we'll unmute me before we pull him up. Hey, Brian, Shaggy up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
I got you, Shaggy.
Man, you and Dino, I couldn't take my... Blake, he always spoils the party, so I was done giving that man camera time. We couldn't come off you guys those last couple laps. How much fun was that with you and Dino, man?
Oh, that's fun. I didn't know whether to try to go through the middle, but I thought, man, I just got to stick to the bottom. If he's going to go by me, he's got to do it outside of me. So, and that's probably the best strategy I could probably take at that point. I didn't want to go to the top because with only 4 laps, I didn't feel like we would build my momentum up enough to keep him behind us. So my only option was to go to the bottom. And man, I'm running the top that whole race thinking, well, this has got to be the fastest line. And then all of a sudden I see a car underneath me. I thought, well, who is that? Well, yeah, that's Blake.
Yeah, it seems like there for a while you're going to be wearing a checkered flag at the end of this thing. And, Blake just comes out of nowhere like he always does and just spoils the show. But, man,
like he always does. And then it was just between, like you said, that was fun between me and Dean there. Yeah.
Well, Randy, man, his ticket showed up in the mail just a little late. He arrived to that party at the end. I think he was ready to dance with you guys, but ran out of time. But Brian, man, I call you Mr. Wednesday Night for a reason. You went through a little bit of a dry spell, brother, but I'm glad to have you back after a hell of a run. You pounded down that wall, and you made this thing look really quick tonight. Hell of a job, man. Congratulations on a good season here, too, man. P3 in the points.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do, man, especially when you're actually sharing the podium. The podium came home, actually, for everybody out there in the order of points here, Brian. Blake, Dean, you. So that's the way everything wraps up this season. So a pretty cool deal, man.
How cool is that then? Always runs everybody so clean and smooth. I can't believe how smooth he is sometimes. And Dean, this whole season we've had fun just running back and forth with each other, just like in last few laps. We've gone a whole race doing that with each other before, and it's just so much fun, man. I can't believe how much fun we're having here. But Yeah, I appreciate you coming out here and giving us a place to race and a broadcast to watch and listen to you sometimes is the best part of the show, I think. But I appreciate it, everything you do and all the guys in the behind the scenes and coast to coast racing. I just appreciate all them guys. And who is our sponsor tonight? Is it Flatline Racing Bodies?
Oh yeah, man, you've got enough of these to know. There you go. It's ingrained in that head by now.
Yeah, and just give them a shout out. And thank them for sponsoring this deal, and give my brother Rick and Rona a shout out. Appreciate them always watching and just having fun, man. Appreciate it.
Well, hey, man, hell of a job. We gonna go play in the 410 a little bit here next?
Yeah, we will. We'll show up.
All righty, Brian. Looking forward to talking to you, brother. Give him hell, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Brian Moore Sr., your P2 finisher or P3 finisher. And now we're going to bring up the man who, Dino, I didn't know if he was going to open that top for you. But boy, oh boy, man, he left the lid open and you jumped right out of the can. You didn't waste no time.
No, I was, if you notice, I was going down the back straightaway to make it look like I was going to the bottom. And I don't know if Brian was looking in the mirror or not, or he was just going to try to follow Blake because, you know, when Blake passed us on the bottom, it's so tempting to think that's the lane. But I know my role. I'm not fast down there. 1 and 2, I'll do that middle because that middle came in again. But 3 and 4, I'm just going to put her right up against that wall and let her eat. And I was hoping Brian would just go down. And if I could get a good run coming out of 2 and just get alongside him a little bit, which I did, and he gave me a little bit of room, which was, thanks to Brian. And, nice move there. And I said, let me go into 3 and 4, and she stuck. So, I needed that because actually I looked at Patrick updated the points. Blake's 100 points ahead, but I was like 8 points ahead of Brian. And so I'm hopefully, depending on the drops, hopefully I can at least say I stayed second to the kid.
Yeah. Blake kind of in his own world at this racetrack. It really has been kind of his sandbox. And, Dean, it's neat to hear you say that because, well, darn right I'm in that same boat. Guys like Anthony, Clay, and Blake, the way they can run the bottom, it does make you think, hey, man, there's some grip down there, but it takes a different type of driver to run down there.
Yeah, and I don't have the throttle control like I need. The bottom was very good in the heat, and yet Blake still got into me because I was going fast enough. I might have been the second fastest car on the bottom, but, you're still probably a full tenth slower than what Blake wants to run down there. And I know he didn't mean to get into me there, but it's just – it takes more laps. But when we were talking in the room, I said congratulations on the championship. And even though I do like this place, I said, thank God this is our last race here because he's just got a magic here. And I think the only one that can really run with him is Gavin. And, but, you got to hand it to him. Hey, he earned it, and he gives you a reason to go out and try to get better. And congratulations to him.
No, he reminds me of, Dino, I'm blanking. But the guy who has been cleaning up in the 358 modifieds on Sunday with the real high rating. Blake kind of reminds me of him, Yeah, that carrot. And it's really important, I think, to have a guy like that. You can see something to shoot for. And Dean, you more so, not that this isn't a shot at anybody else, but Dean, man, you have just taken off in the sprint car. You've really taken advantage of the talent around you. And, man, you've used all the tools to learn. And, dude, you're competing now on Monday nights, with some of the top guys. What do you have a new confidence when we get in the sprint car? Do we feel better every time we get in? What's the big change?
Yeah, I do. And, it's the coaching from Gavin and Patrick first and foremost. But, it's a new computer. Like I said, Dylan DJ there, he put together this new computer, and he says when you get a new computer, all your equipment is going to run just a little bit smoother. Your wheel's going to be a little bit smoother. You're not going to have any slack. You're not going to have any play. Your pedals are going to work a little bit smoother. And I think that's what it is. I have confidence knowing that when I go up top, the car's going to stick or it's going to work. Like, on Monday night, that cushion was rough as hell on top of Charlotte there, but I just left it right up there. And I'm glad I gave you the highlight, and I sent it to Megan. And tomorrow she's going to come over and she's got to rub my shoulders, and but that was pretty cool when I went to 3 wide there, and you got excited. And,
Oh yeah, dude.
We played. Patrick saved that and played it in all our discords, and you don't want to know what some of the comments were, but, but
maybe I want to know at a different time and setting.
Yeah, I'll show you. Morano, Morano's got too much time on his hands. But no, to answer your question, yes. I mean, my goal now, before I won't be able to do this as good as I am, and I got to hurry up because I'm old as snot, is to get a Renegades win, and that's what I want. And once I can get that Renegades win and earn that, I don't want to start up front and get in the way and hold off everybody on a one lane track either. I want to go out and earn it, and and I thought I had a little bit of a chance there. The night it wasn't broadcast at Lima Land with Patrick, but if that was week 1 or week 2, I would have gave it a cent. But he was going for a championship, and I basically said to Patrick, I'm going to stay behind you unless you make a mistake. And but it was good to be right on him, and that doesn't happen. 99 times out of 100, he's going to smoke me, but that was that one time, And so we'll keep on digging with the sprint cars. I do some other leagues with the sprints, and there's a lot of pros in those other leagues, and I shoot for top 10s and that. But you always learn, and me and Gavin, we run that no limit deal that NARC is doing, that 410 deal. They got 40 guys signed on. And I think 20 of them are pros or former pros, and that's how you're going to learn. So we're going to keep on digging, and now we're going to run the 410 and see if we can talk to you again.
Well, hey, man, hell of a job. Before you get out of here, you know the drill, man. Let's hear who you want to thank.
Well, we got to thank, the guys from Full Throttle Motorsports. Always got to thank those guys. I thanked Gavin and Patrick earlier. Got to thank you, Shaggy, for doing the Hometown Heroes. Thank Flatline Racing Bodies for their sponsorship, so Shaggy can do, the Hometown Heroes. This is going to be a little bittersweet here, this event coming up. This is going to be the last 410 race for Hometown Heroes, as we're going to go to 305s and 360s next year. But also got to say, hi to Anthony's wife, Sherry, Isaac's girlfriend, Kelsey, because I know I'm her favorite driver. I am definitely going to say hi to Megan. I'm not going to forget this time. I know she's watching. She's home early. I sent her the link. I didn't send my link to Dad, but I'll send it to him afterwards and say hi to him. And Scotty Riome, we're calling him Straight Line Scotty now because he's not only taking out teammates, he's taking out other people. So we're gonna lasso that guy in. He's just a menace, but we're thinking of him in his time of need. And also, we got to say congratulations to Mike Brewer. I don't know if you realize, but he gave birth to a little baby girl this morning. So.
That's awesome, man! It happened this morning.
I think it was a girl. God, I hope it was a girl. One of those two. It's a girl or a guy. But yes, so he became a father this morning, and congratulations to him as well. And we're thinking of him, and everyone's healthy, and that's really cool. So now go back and talk to that little kid. Hey, I kept my mouth shut when he took that EOL, so I don't owe him any more Galens. Because I still owe him 4 bags. I got his address. I know I got to give him the dill pickle Galens, and then I'll pick some 3 others. And but at least I kept my mouth shut this time when he took that EOL.
Well, hey, Dino, congrats, man, on a good run. Good season here. Can't wait to talk to you after the 410. Give him help, brother.
I hope we do. Thanks, man.
Dean Reynolds bringing home P2, and now we're going to bring up the man of the hour, Blake. You know the deal, man. Me and Dino like to talk. Sorry about the wait, but you get to bring home another trophy, brother. How's this feel tonight?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I definitely had to work for this one just a little bit. I figured I would with taking an EOL. These guys have been really picking it up the last couple of weeks. So, we were in the back, and we got into a little bit of an incident on lap 1, and the car was pretty well damaged. And I was trying to throw it on the bottom, and it just wasn't sticking. And it went up top, didn't really carry any speed. So, I was telling Dean, if that thing would have went caution free, they would have almost slapped me. I mean, the car was that bad, but, we went and got a quick fix, and we didn't even lose a spot, fortunately. There weren't too many cars out here tonight, so we picked up right where we left off, and, once we got that fix, went up top for a little bit, and then went downstairs, and it stuck down there, and I didn't know if it was going to be enough to get around those top 3, but, it was just enough down there that we could sail away.
Yeah, we saw you too. Now, obviously, we know, Blake, there is no ill intention from you. And I watched you get on the brakes too after, but I watched you try to fit it in under Dino in the heat race, man. Was that kind of, you already have the championship locked up? You're just trying to see where you can maybe make passes? Because Dino even talked about it, man. He said that's why he stayed away from the bottom tonight, because he thought he hit that corner well, and you made up about 2.5 car lengths. So you're really in your own zone on the bottom. What were you testing there?
Yeah, honestly, I was just running it normally like I would. I didn't think Dean was gonna go down there, and then I got such a good run in, and it's like, whoa, that was obviously on me. But like I said, I didn't expect to get that good of a run. I didn't expect him to be down there, so I knew it was pretty good down there. And the warm up didn't feel great, but fortunately it worked out for us. The bottom came in during the feature.
Yeah, and I know you're not going to hang on to fourth, and we're watching it kind of back right now. I was dedicated to Dean and Brian at that point in time, but I see you rolling up on Randy, and he was on the outside too. Was going to the bottom, was that, I want to win this thing, or was that just out of necessity? Because, dude, that thing looked just as quick up top as it was on the bottom.
Yeah, honestly, at that point in time, I thought the top was faster, but it's like they were all running a pretty similar line, and I knew if I wanted to win the race, I had to find something else. So, went back to the old reliable, went down to the bottom, and I got enough laps around here. I know how to get in and out of the corners, and it was really, really good, especially getting into 3 and coming out of 2. So, it worked out really, really well for us, and glad we had the chance to go down there.
Well, man, before, I let you do your thanks and everything, it's going to be a while, unless they add it on the schedule next season until you roll back into this place in a 360. Obviously, man, this place was your sandbox. What are your thoughts leaving this place? What did you like about it so much?
Yeah, I think I'm going to miss it. I think it's been some really good racing. I don't know. Unfortunately, we haven't had the super high car counts that I would hope for, but, I think this track just kind of fits my driving style. That bottom really comes in, and I'm able to just rip it, which I love doing that. And the Ford's heads, I think it's probably the right move for the league to move off of it. I think 305s are probably a little more popular, especially if they fix the setups by now on those things. So, the Ford's heads can be tricky, and, hopefully next season, wherever we're at, we can get higher car counts and, put on a little bit more of a show for you.
Well, hey, man, hopefully I'll be here. Hopefully they don't have any other plans. Love calling these, man. It was a year of domination for you. Congratulations, Blake, on another championship trophy. Who you want to thank, brother?
Yeah, I got to thank the parents for watching. Got to thank the guys at KSR, especially Terry, for running with me almost every week. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and 88 AJ Custom Creations. Got to thank Steve at Steve's Custom Golf Clubs. And of course, I got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring Hometown Heroes. And of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. You can head over to their website, and don't forget to use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off some of their very delicious products. Of course, I got to thank Dean for adminning all season long. Really appreciate that. And I got to thank you for broadcasting this all season long, Shaggy, and I really hope you're back with us next season.
Yeah, man, me too. Love calling this. You guys are a blast, and you're one of the best we've got, Blake. You're definitely a statesman here for the Coast to Coast Racing League, and man, we appreciate all you represent and the attitude that you carry. Big win, and man, I'll be talking to you probably here in about a half hour. If you want to let someone else win this one, feel free.
I'm not sure I'm going to be feeling like that, Shaggy, but I appreciate it.
That's Blake Chapman, man. You're points champion. Another win here. That's 7 wins out of the 8 right races that are going to count for him this season. I don't know if we've really seen that before, but we have now. Congratulations to Blake Chapman. Another championship trophy. We're going to step away here for a couple minutes while I load into the other session. It'll be a quick commercial break this time because the other one should be ready to roll here. They'll just be waiting on me. So stick around, and we'll be back in a couple minutes here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Tonight we'll be talking about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Not a lot of guys here this evening for the season finale here. This will be the last race, as you heard Blake Chapman touch on, for the 410s here in the Coast to Coast Racing League for, well, as long as we know. This is the we've seen the car count start to dwindle here in the 410, so we decided enough's enough. We're going to go back to what we used to run years ago, 305 sprint cars. So I imagine a 360s would take the place of this. we would probably run the 305s first, and then the 360s. The 360s, excuse me, be the quote-unquote showcase of the evening. Who knows? That is definitely not fact. I don't know that for sure. Blake Chapman. Getting as close to that wall as he can as the checkered flag. Terry Landis says, I can do one better. He goes up there and gives a little kiss here. And, well, I like to say I wasn't going to bug Patrick to update this one. This one definitely wasn't that big a deal. Blake is going to win this trophy as well. If we take a look here at the standings below him, Brian Moore Sr. looking like he's got a pretty comfortable P2 over Bob DeGood. Well, that could always change. Not too sure. Oh, and I just realized we're not on a car here. I noticed it was really quiet. I'm sorry. I was like, why aren't we on a race car here for qualifying? And Dean Reynolds, he takes P1. That's all on me. I was zoning out. My apologies. Through 3 and 4 on the top side. Dino trying to find some speed. But Jeff Barker, man, he may have found some. Same with Bob DeGood. Bob DeGood, quick time. But Blake Chapman, purple. The salesman coming in, and as he's done every race here this season, it seems like. Gonna spoil the party here for the rest of the bunch, and Blake Chapman by almost a tenth of a second. Gonna take quick time here. We've had 5 drivers put in laps. Ooh. Hey, Jeff, let's go. We gotta see how much air he got there. We can't just let that go. That was fantastic. Ooh. I like what I'm seeing, Jeff. Oh, yeah. So wheelie bounces it off the wall, and then, hang on. No, this ain't going to be a good view. I mean, he made it over the tow truck. Ah. No, we don't need to, change the view. See that maybe he clipped the tow truck, because to me, that was 10 out of 10. The Brewerton Beast just stole the show. And, if they were giving out trophies for jumping over tow trucks, Jeff Barker would be bringing one home here tonight, but they aren't. We're giving home trophies to Blake Chapman this evening, and well, Jack Hitt was able to steal one of them there in the midgets. But Blake, he's going to have to sign for that package. I imagine going to be some pretty valuable items in that thing. So Blake's going to have to move around his schedule here in about a month or so whenever he gets that tracking label. High dollar items. Only 5 cars on the grid here. Randy Shreves and Brian Moore Sr. not on the call. Terry Landis to the inside of row 3. Row 2 to the outside. Blake Chapman to the inside. Bob DeGood. Row 1 to the outside. Dino into the inside. Starting on the pole in the 513, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. Like I say, only 5 guys here. So this is it's going to be a pretty quick one. And drivers, they better hope they didn't do an arm workout here this morning, because we're going to go probably 25 laps. Green flag, I'd imagine, as the green flag waves. We're underway. Heat race number 1. Oh, the Desert Demon. He pulled a wheelie to start this thing. And the Judy special, man. Boy, oh boy. He almost wadded that thing up. But Dean Reynolds to the front early on the high side, letting it rip. Blake Chapman trying to join the party. Blake Chapman trying to carry momentum off of 4. He does just that. He's in P2 through 1 and 2. Dino has the lead going down the backstretch as we take a peek back. Terry Landis still stuck back here in 5th. Hasn't been able to find a way around the 7 of Bob DeGood. We've got plenty of time here. 3 laps around this racetrack. As Blake Chapman says, I know, Shaggy, looking to the inside. 2 to play here. 2 fingers in the air. 2 trips around. Dino leaving him a lane here. He's not going to leave him too much, though. Dino going to have to make the kid work for it. Coming off of 4. White flag waves. 1 more trip around for the 79. Dean Reynolds. Does he go in? Does he drive it low into 4? Or 3, excuse me. No, he leaves the lane. Side by side at the line. Dean Reynolds holds on for heat race win number 1. Blake Chapman P2. Jeff Barker 3rd. Bob the Good 4th. And Terry Landis rounds out the top 5. We're not going to go to commercial tonight. This was a quick night. We're not going to go to commercial. We're going to hang out here. We're going to watch the warm-ups. Going to be 3 minutes. I am going to mute myself, grab a drink here for about 40 seconds or so. But when you see the cameras start moving here, well, I lied because it moved there without me doing it. When you see the camera moved, I'll be back and I'll mute myself and we'll discuss here how and when we expect Blake Chapman to take this lead here tonight. Stick around. You can see there, I put the top 3, their times up here. Something I can flirt around with from time to time. I get a little bit too comfortable and don't use all my other tools. These are things that I can kind of show you every now and then. I'll bring it up when I talk about their lap times. But you see Blake, he ran the fastest lap of the race on lap number 1. Or of warm-ups, excuse me, on lap number 1. He's been the quickest guy out of that top 3 every lap since they've all been on the racetrack. So you got to think Blake Chapman starting on the outside of row 1. Arguably where he wants to be. Dino's going to have to make that thing real wide if he wants to steal a checkered flag here from the salesman. And, you know, like I've mentioned many times here, Blake has this thing basically locked up. So, I mean, he can go out here. He can have some fun. I mean, he could flirt around with starting at the back if he wanted to. We'll have to see what Blake does. I mean, realistically, I don't think we're going to get Brian Moore Sr. Well, let's see. I can tell you for sure if they're here. No, you can see they're grayed out under my mouse. They're not here. So it is only going to be those 5 drivers. And you got to think if Blake does want to go to the back of the field here, not going to be too tough of a task. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see the 20 possibly drop to the rear end here as we get ready. Take a look at our starting grid. Only 5 cars. Hoping everything's all right with Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. Because he said in his interview we were going to see him out here in this race. So hopefully everything's all good over there with the 55. We're thinking of you, Brian. Let's take a look here. Starting order. Axe Randy. Axe Brian. Inside of row 3, the 161 of Terry Landis. Row 2 to the outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. To the inside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. Row number 1 for your Flatline Racing Bodies 410 Sprint Car feature. To the outside, your champion in the 20, Blake Chapman. And starting on the pole, the 79 of Dino, Dean Reynolds. Well, we'll get a chance to see what Blake does here if he does go to the outside. Oh, actually, Dino trying to pull a wheelie for us. At the same time, we're trying to see Blake Chapman. He is going to take the UL. And Dino's going to have to hope this thing goes flag to flag, and he's got enough to hang on to it as Dino don't want it up just yet. He gives us a wheelie going down the backstretch. And I'll tell you, I say it all the time, he's a showman. You know, I mean, those moves are what landed him Megan, I'm sure of it. You know, who doesn't love someone who can pull a wheelie in a sprint car? And look, he's going to do it again just for better measure here. And, man, Bob DeGood, what do? You know, the guy on the inside can pull wheelies like that. I mean, maybe half the battle there. I'm joking, but Dino having some fun going around out here as the Steve King Foundation pace truck dives off. I will be kind of shocked if we have more than one caution flag here tonight. You never know, though. These guys could get nasty as the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. There's 25 laps to play at Huset Speedway. I told you, with the low car counts, this will be the final 410 race for the foreseeable future here in the Coast to Coast Racing League. So who's going to bring home the bragging rights? Right now, Blake Chapman stuck back there in P5 as Bob DeGood leads the way here early. Terry Landis looks to the inside. He sees Jeff Barker to the inside. And, well, with 5 cars here, if they're going to roll this close, I'm telling you, we're going to roll this stationary camera for a little bit. It's going to jump around, but you'll see how we get to watch all this racing. And we can see contact between Blake Chapman and Jeff Barker. He tries to take a peek to the inside. Can't make it work. And now Blake, he's got to reel in the rest of the field as Dino reeling in the 7 of Bob DeGood. He's as close as he's been. Taking a peek on that top shelf. Dino, he stays in line, looks to the bottom through 2. And what kind of run can he get? The answer's not any of a run. Dean's got to fall back in line behind Bob DeGood. And he's got to lick those paws here and try again in about a lap or 2. Because Blake Chapman, he's starting to cut his way on through here. Looking to the outside of the 513. And next on the board here is his teammate in the 161. Bob DeGood with 18, now 17 laps to go. This time coming out of 4. Oh, he bounces the right rear off the wall. Dino's got a lift, and that allows 3rd and 4th. Oh, to make contact! Caution flag gonna fly. I imagine Blake Chapman on the lid. No caution, no caution, no caution. Caution waves. Took a while for that one to come out as Blake Chapman, I told you he could wreck this thing and still bring home the checkered flag. I didn't think he'd really do it. Now Terry gets a little loose, comes up across Blake. Blake's able to cut back or get on the binders in time. Terry just loses the rear end after he tightens up, gets into Blake, stomps him into the outside wall. Jeff with a hard roll to the inside, and oh boy, Jeff Barker lucky enough to land on all 4s and keep that thing going straight. But I see a couple drivers here that are going to need to use a quick repair. And we'll see here. I don't see Dino anywhere out there. If I saw Dino in a Discord, I was going to jump down and yell at him to extend this thing. But Dino probably doesn't maybe want to extend this thing. Because if Blake gets stuck a lap down here, it's looking pretty good for that 79 as he was able to get in front of the 7 of Bob DeGood. But if, or no, he wasn't. He was just driving around in front. I was going to say, I thought Bob was still out front, but Dino out in front. Couldn't tell there. Let's see. They're singling up. Blake's still on pit road. Lights are off, so not too sure here if the salesman will make it out in time. Blake Chapman's still not moving, Doesn't look like Blake's going to make it out in time as Bob drops the hammer. We're back underway here at the Huset Speedway. 15 laps to go. Bob DeGood, your leader. Bob DeGood would love to bring home a 410 feature win, but he's got to hold off the 79 if he wants to do it. Dean Reynolds, man, he wants this thing. Smaller field, but This is the last, I am going to stress it again, the last 410 race here in the Coast to Coast Racing League that, is scheduled on the docket. And Dino wants to bring it home. Bob making that 7 machine mighty, mighty wide, though. It's not going to be an easy task as Blake back out there, but he is a lap down. If he wants to win this thing, he's going to have to unlap himself the hard way and go back around. And with 11 laps, just not going to be enough time. But the Brewerton Beast, you see him at the top. He's trying to reel in Terry Landis. But new leader, Dean Reynolds, to the high side. Man, oh man, Dino's been making his money up there on the top shelf this week. He had the big move up there Monday at Charlotte. And he does it once again here to take the lead with 10 laps to go. Through 3 and 4, looking to get 8 this time. And Dean Reynolds wants this thing to stay green. Terry Landis to the inside of that 7 of Bob DeGood. Can Terry find a way to get that Jeter's 161 machine to that middle step of the podium? We're going to hear about Galen's either way because Blake's getting his interview. He's the champion. But we might get to hear about it twice. If Terry Landis can hang on and finish on the podium. I know Jeff Parker, he, gotta love him, and I don't know how else you can say this, but he doesn't care about the podiums. I've seen him back out of the throttle to make sure he doesn't finish on the podium to talk to me. Jeff, a man of few words, and he's just out here to have fun. So I'd imagine if these guys behave, this is the top 3. But while they're racing side by side, they've been able to reel in this 79 at Dean Reynolds. And Terry Landis, man, he's got dreams of winning this final 410 feature. Hooked up to the bottom through 3 and 4. 2 fingers in the air, 2 trips around as Dino holding on. How long can he hold on? Through 3 and 4. White flag flies. 1 more lap to go for the 79 of Dean Reynolds. Dino drives it down the backstretch through 3 and 4. 1 more time. He sees the checkered flag. And the final 410 race in the Coast to Coast Racing League goes to none other than Dino here. He's going to park it in your Flatline Racing Bodies victory lane. Bob DeGood P2. Terry Landis rounds out the podium. Blake Chapman, he's going to pull it in early, but he's your champion. Should have parked it up here with the rest of them. Congratulations to him after a fantastic season. But Dean Reynolds brings home the checkered flag. Hats off to the driver of the 79, and we'll have to see if he gets a special reward here this evening when he hops off of iRacing. Congratulations to Dino. Let's see here. We'll give everybody a minute or two here to catch their breath. And well, I'm going to take a sip of water here before I go through these 4 interviews. Here we go. Drivers starting to migrate up here. I'll pull him up while he's talking. No, I won't, Terry. He's not talking. I thought I
was talking. I was doing the listening.
Okay, it only took me 12 weeks to not pull you up while you were talking. But hey, man, I got lucky. And tonight, Terry, man, it seems like, I'll call it for you. You don't have to. Seems like Dino got a little lucky because at the end there, dude, you were quick on the bottom. If not for a little hiccup there with 2 to go, man, you may have won this thing. You found some grip down there. Talk to us about those closing couple laps.
Oh man, kudos to Bob. He was racing. That was a lot of hard racing. That was fun as heck.
Yeah, how do you guys reel in Dino when you're side by side racing that hard? Explain that to me because everything I know about racing just went out the window right there.
That's what he said too. He said I was watching my mirror and he said, "You guys caught me." He's like, "Where do you guys come from?" I don't know. We were just running hard. I had a really good roll in 3 and 4. That was keeping me in the game.
Yeah, it seemed like down there, it seemed like all night it was a little easier to hit the bottom in 3 and 4 than it was 1 and 2, which normally not typical. We kind of see it the opposite way. But Terry, were you getting fed any information from Blake there? Lines to try at the end. We know after he was involved in it, you could clearly see that you got loose. That wasn't intentional. But did he have any, go here, go there, try to get you to the front ideas?
No, he was quiet. He was quiet the rest of the race. I don't know what he was doing. I guess he didn't want to talk because I was concentrating pretty good.
Well, Terry, you bring home a podium, man. This is the final 410 race here for the foreseeable future. I know that has to bring a little tear down that face. We love these 410s being central or South Central PA boys, man. This is in our blood. We love this stuff,
For sure.
and it takes a lot of talent to drive these things, but until the further notice, they're postponed. But you end the season with a P3. Hell of a run, man. Who you want to thank?
Thanks, Shaggy. You, of course, love listening to you. You're the greatest. And C2C for a place to race. And all the admins back there, Jack and Jeff and all them guys. And everything else goes behind the scenes. Kreitz Old Track Parts, because sometimes you crash and need something to fix it, and you can call them guys and they'll help you out. And then while you're in between fixing it, you got to eat some Galen's homegrown popcorn. So if you put the word cart in when you're checking out, that'll get 15% off for that. And don't forget you need some Yoo-hoo to slam it down there. And I'd like to thank my wife, Judy.
Yeah, man. Parking the Judy special there on the podium one more time. Congratulations, Terry. I'm not sure, I haven't heard yet, so hopefully I'm still here next season on Wednesday nights because I love doing this, man. You guys are so much fun, and congratulations, Terry, on another good year, brother.
Thanks, bro. And we miss you on Tuesdays, but bigger things are ahead. Good luck.
Yeah, I know. If we could talk you guys into moving up, I've been telling Roger about that. I could still do it if we move you guys up time. Because I don't go till like 8:30, but I know it's tough on everybody. Well, you on the East Coast or West Coast especially. But congratulations, Terry, and looking forward to a lot more of these, man.
Yeah, Shaggy. Talk to you later.
Terry Landis, your third place finisher. Now we're gonna. Or wait, why did that happen? Or wait, yeah, your third place finisher. Now we're gonna bring up the man who finished P2, Bob. I'll tell you, man. I said the same thing to Terry. Everything I know about racing is absolutely gone. I thought when you and him were battling side by side, well, the race was over. Congratulations to Dino. And somehow, man, you guys found speed and you reeled him in. How did you guys pull that off side by side?
Well, Terry gave me motivation to try a little harder.
Yeah, Bob, it's something that I really have. If you've been listening to these, I've been complimenting you and Dino especially, man, because I kind of feel like I was in your guys' camp as well. We were a little lost in these things for a long time, and well, now you guys, anytime I get to race with you, you guys beat the hell out of me every time I'm out there. I can't keep up with you guys anymore, man. What's the trick? I mean, how did you guys nail this thing? Because, Bob, you put a wing on a sprint car now, man, and especially out there qualifying, dude, you're in the top 5 every time. I mean, how do you do it?
I guess just laps and hanging in there and keeping after it. But I tell you what, felt like I was getting in Dean's way when I was in the lead there, and I wasn't trying to block him. I was just it took that much racetrack to get the car around the track. So that was fun, and then getting side by side with Terry, that was awesome.
Yeah, no, man, it was. And I'll tell you what, that was clean racing up front. You doing, we've seen Blake do it at this racetrack too. You need all of it, man. It seems like this place is so wide, but it really does funnel you coming out of the corners, and you got to float up if you want to carry that speed. And Bob, you were a quick guy for a lot tonight. And then, like I say, I thought it was absolutely over. And then in the closing laps, man, it looks like you might have something for Dino. You found the trick at the end, but I say the same thing to Terry. I know, Bob, you're starting to like these 410s, but now that they're going to be gone, are we going to miss them?
I hate to see the 410s go. I think driving the 410s is what makes you a good driver. I mean, it's more power than you can use. You've got to learn to use the throttle. It's not an on-off switch. Yeah, I think 410s make you a good driver.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's definitely not the easiest learning curve, but you know as well as I do, man. If you can drive one of these, then you can drive a 360, and of course, then you can drive the 305. It all kind of falls down from there. But Bob, man, hell of a run. I thought for a while we were going to be giving you a checkered flag tonight. I was rooting for you, man. But P2, hell of a way to close the year. Congratulations. Who you want to thank, man?
Well, I want to thank you, Shaggy, for the broadcast, Coast to Coast Racing League, for giving us a great place to race. My teammate Jeff Barker, he's always racing me clean. Yeah, that's it.
Well, hey, heck of a run, Bob, and man, hopefully, I know the 305's maybe not our cup of tea, but I'm hoping I see you out there and go give Blake Chapman some hell next season. What do you say?
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
There we go, Bob. Congratulations. That's our P2 finisher, and now we're going to bring up the final 410 winner in Coast to Coast history until we add another league. Dean Reynolds. How you feeling, brother?
Well, I don't even care if I got it by default. Somebody took the hit out on the kid and made sure he didn't finish. But in 3+ years of Coast to Coast, this is my first Hometown Heroes win in a 410.
No way, really? I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, I got one in the 360. Actually, I think I got two in the 360, but I don't have any in the 410. So I'm gonna take it. It's like when you get that blooper over to second baseman, it's still a line drive in the book. And when you talk to your grandchildren, which I'm never going to have, but when you talk to them, you're going to say, that time I beat that Blake Chapman back in the day with Coast to Coast, and, he finished 5th. He had nothing for me. No one's going to know.
I know that feeling exactly because I got my team in baseball to the playoffs off a bases loaded blooper over second. So nobody knows it's a blooper until now. I just tell that story to run RBI, win the game. But, hey, man, you take it how you can get it exactly right, Dean. And I know it wasn't the biggest field here, but it still seemed like a pretty technical racetrack. I mean, guys were struggling up top a little bit. And, we saw Bob kind of searching around. Same thing as in that 360 race, man. He left that door open for you, and you took, man, half a lap to take that thing over. I mean, what were you thinking? Were you worried about Blake at all, or did you know at that point when you got out front he was a lap down?
Well, I was, when at the beginning of the race there before the yellow, I was just trying to find a lane to get Bob. I didn't want to force it or anything like that because it's the last race, and let's go have a good race. And if Blake gets us, Blake gets us. But when the yellow came out and I saw Blake on his roof or on his cage there going into turn 3, I mic'd up and I said the same thing. I go, okay, who put the hit out in Blake? And then I noticed he didn't make it back out. And time to pull up the britches. I said, okay, I got to win this puppy. I go, the kid's out and no Galen's for him. And I got to go win it now. And so I put a little pressure on Bob. And I did the same exact move I did to Brian. I got that little run coming out of 2, got alongside, and kudos to Brian, kudos to Bob. They gave me room. They saw me get that run, and they easily could have pinched me, but they gave me the room, and then I went in 3 and 4. I didn't lift, and it stuck, and I got the lead, and then I opened up to almost a second lead. But I'll tell you what, Shaggy, they freaking tracked me down.
Yeah, and that's what we were getting to. Were you experimenting or, maybe messing around with something different? Because, dude, I mean, we're watching them right now behind you in slow motion, side by side, dude. And, I mean, you couldn't have put a credit card in between them at some points, and they were still reeling you in. I thought, maybe you were just testing something out and it wasn't working.
No, I mean, I when I got the lead, I said, okay, middle 1, 2, top 3, 4. That's the way it was last week with a short car count. I'll just keep on holding those lines, and I'm golden. And I'm watching the relative, and all of a sudden it went from a second to 3/10. And I don't look in the mirror that much because it slows you down, but I looked in the mirror. I see this yellow and purple thing on the low side. I see this blue thing on the high side. I go, they're racing each other and catching me. I go, what am I doing wrong? And I still don't know what I did wrong. So I don't know if I was on the gas too hard or what. I only restricted the engine down to 980, because of the track conditions. Maybe I should have done a little bit more. I don't know, but I mean, I tell you what, screw it. They scared the shit out of me, and I'll say it that way.
Yeah, I mean, they were reeling you in there, and it's not something you normally see, you know, guys racing side by side. I mean, I think if we go back and listen to, you know, I talk so much BS, I don't even remember it, but I was pretty sure I thought that thing was over when they started racing side by side. But Dean, they reeled you in, made it a little exciting, but man, you had enough to hold on. And like I say, bringing home the final 410 race here, the Coast to Coast Racing League, and I'm glad it was your first, man. Glad I was here for it. Congratulations. Who you want to thank?
Well, thank you. And then I was talking to Bob in the room there. It's bittersweet. We both enjoy the 410s, and we're going to hate to see them go. But, you know, I get it. You know, they're going to introduce the 305s again. And I do like the fixed setup on the 305s. They added a little more gear to them. So, you know, people, if you're on the fence about running sprint cars, come on out, do the 305s. Come to Hometown Heroes. We're going to have a vote on the track. Hopefully people will vote for a nice track that's a little bit forgiving, have some room so people can learn, and we'll get those car counts back up, and we'll get Hometown Heroes going so you can, so you can announce 20 car fields instead of 5 or 6. So let's do that. But Shaggy, got to thank you for, you know, hey, you could even make a 5-car race sound exciting, and that's awesome. So thanks so much to you. Flatline Racing Bodies. Congratulations to Blake Chapman on both championships with the 360s and the 410s. Great run by Bob and Terry. That was awesome. You know, they gave this old guy a run, and they got me on a little bit of years too. So, you know, I thanked everybody else in the first race, so people don't need to hear me again. But, you know, hey, it's a sticker. I'm gonna put it up with pride, and you know, I still got a couple more categories. I got to get that first win in. I actually don't have a 305 win, and I don't have a Renegades win. I think those are the only 2 classes I got left that I run regularly or semi-regularly that I need to get wins in. So that's going to be my goals.
Well, Dino, you know I'll be up here rooting for you for every one of them. Congratulations on another good season, man. Hopefully I'm talking to you a little bit tomorrow night.
All right, Shaggy. I would love to see that tomorrow night. It's been a while since I've got a podium on a Thursday, so it's time to change that.
Yeah, I haven't even looked ahead yet, but I imagine you got some teammates competing for some stuff tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think Sam's leading 358s and Clay's leading the big blocks.
Surprise, surprise.
So, wait, you know, good for them. I'm proud of my teammates. I'm so glad that Sam got the you know, the open set 358 there on Monday. He's very happy about that. You know, he might not lead it on, but he's taking.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was just gonna say, D. Don't lead it on. I give him so much crap for being a man of few words, but boy, oh boy, he does his talking on the racetrack, and that's where it matters, I guess, right?
Well, and we pick on him because he says the same. Him and Clay say the same thing when they get interviewed in the podium. You know, he always says, "I got to thank Gunner for." You know, I got Gunner for he's working on the dig for us. So lately, when we get in podiums, we say we got to thank Gunner because he's working on the dig for us because Sam says it. So, you know, we pick on him, but you know, he's really cool and he's very laid back. And who would ever thought 2 people we never met, we have no idea, came from different leagues and stuff like that, joined FTM, and him and Clay both live in Brainerd, Minnesota, and they never met each other, and they live like a quarter mile apart. Who would ever thought that?
Oh my God, they've met each other since, right?
I actually don't even know. I don't think they still have. Clay never leaves the house.
Oh my God.
Clay's an artist, and he's done some TikTok videos. Clay's really got an artistic a framework to him and a mind, and you see some of the drawings he does and everything. They're ungodly. He could make money doing that if he needed to pursue it. He really could.
Well, Dino, congratulations, man. I'm going to run off here. I'm going to pull up our champion, but like I say, hopefully I'm talking to you tomorrow night, brother. Good job tonight.
All right, man, and I better say hi, Megan, before I leave.
That's Dean Reynolds bringing home the checkered flag. And now, well, Blake, I didn't think you were really going to do it, go out there and let somebody else win tonight. But, you know, an eventful P5, man, you're looking to the outside of your teammate, and we know it wasn't anything malicious. But at the end of the day, hey, man, you're bringing home the hardware. How you feeling?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. I feel a lot better after filling out that protest form. You know, can't let Terry get away with that. But I usually know I'm not upset at all. You know, It's not like I needed the points to win the championship or anything. And even with 5 cars, you never know what can happen. Terry slipped up a little bit, and I was kind of, stuck trying to make a decision on the outside of him, whether to gun it or get hard on the brakes. And I was kind of caught in the middle of there. So, truth be told, I probably had it coming. The practices before the heats and warm ups for the feature, I take him out all the time. So, I probably had that one coming. So, congrats to Terry tonight on the podium, though. I always enjoy listening to his interviews.
Yeah, he said that you weren't talking him through it or anything, but I don't know if you've gotten a chance to go back and watch. He made a pretty good run at Dino, if not for a little slip up with 2 to go. I mean, he was channeling his inner Blake. He was hooking up on the bottom. Do you think you've rubbed off on him a little at all?
Yeah, well, I think Terry really was the original, bottom feeder. I remember when I came into this league, he was always running the bottom, so I think he was just getting back to his roots a little bit. And I like when I didn't want to say anything to him during the race because everywhere I went in the back, it was fast. It seemed like middle, high, low. So I was just gonna let him do his thing, and listening it to Dean's perspective, it seemed like there was quite a race going on up front.
Yeah, no, there was. It was amazing. I kind of thought it was going to stall out when he pulled to the inside of Bob, but they raced hard, egged each other on to try to reel in Dino, but at the end of the day, man, he just proved to be too much. Like your points lead, dude. That's what consistency does all year for you. You came into tonight knowing it was going to be yours, and, well, it's a well-deserved 410 championship, Blake. We've talked about it. We're going to be taking a break from the 410s, man, but... And when we do, you're going to be the final champion. Well, what are your thoughts? And, just what are your thoughts about the 410s going away here in the Coast to Coast Racing League?
Yeah, I've had fun, in all these classes on Hometown Heroes. And Terry was even telling me, before the start here that I was to blame partially for the poor car counts. So, hopefully that's not the case next season. And I was talking to Patrick after Monday night, maybe with him starting in the back of every race on Monday night. So might have to do something similar here on Wednesday nights next season. We'll just have to wait and see.
Well, hey, hell of a run, Blake. Congratulations on another championship. Before we say our goodbyes and run the credits, man, you know the deal. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I just got to thank the same people. Got to thank the family for watching. Got to thank all the guys down at KSR and Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and 88 AJ Custom Creations. Got to thank Dean for the admin all season long. Got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring this Hometown Heroes night. I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. I've already told you how great they are, and you've experienced it yourself. And when you're checking out some of their great popcorn, don't forget to use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off. And of course, as always, Shaggy, I got to thank you for putting this broadcast on.
I almost forgot to unmute myself on the stream. Sorry about the late answer, Blake. Thanks for that, man. I hope I'm back next season. Definitely, I would never schedule any plans over this. I love calling your guys' races. You do a phenomenal job, and, man, we'll have to see if you can maybe win. I know we've had it before, but it's basically inaugural now. We've took a break. We'll have to see if you can go out here and win the go-kart championship next season. And good luck here, Blake.
Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman, your 410 champion, taking the checkered flag for the final time. Big shout out to Flatline Racing Bodies for coming on again this season, man. We absolutely couldn't do this stuff without you at the Coast to Coast Racing Network. And J Custom Creations coming on for the midgets. Without all you guys, we don't get to put on these lovely broadcasts, and I don't get to sit here in my living room and have as much fun as I'm having. But on behalf of everyone here at the Coast to Coast Racing Network, or Coast to Coast Racing League, excuse me, I'm Zach Chapman with ShaggyTV saying have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow night on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Have a good one.